So I'm just going to jump right into your wedding consultations and the tips that you can use to ensure that you're giving the clients as much information as possible so that they can make an informed decision, and hopefully that informed decision will be to hire you. So the first thing that you want to do is that you want to arrive prepared. I cannot stress this one enough. In fact, I can't stress all the tips enough, but you're going to see why. So once the client has reached out to you, they usually reach out and they have some questions, right? This is how you even get to the consultation. They'll have a question, maybe it's about your pricing, about the type of packages you offer. If you're able to work at a certain venue, they will have questions, right? In that exchange, however, you might also learn additional information. You might learn if they've already secured a venue, if they're working with a photographer, if they need catering, like all these little things. These are information that you can use ahead of time. Use it to prepare for your consultation. Do not show up to the consultation uninformed and hoping that the client will fill in all the blanks. The more information you have and the more prepared you are, the easier it is for you to have a conversation where you can help to convince them why you are the best planner for them, right? So it's important that you are prepared. It's like anything else. If you're going to a job interview, whatever it is, you do need to prepare. Look at what they're looking for, what questions they're asking. Try to anticipate what questions they might have and come prepared with all the information you need to address these concerns. Tip number 2 is that I want you to listen more than you speak. Yeah, now I know a bunch of you are going to say, but Jodianne, how does that work? I'm trying to get booked. I need to tell them about how amazing I am. Yes, you do, but you also need to listen to what they're saying. In fact, it's actually more important that you listen to what they're saying, what they need, the things they're highlighting, because these are the things that helps you to be better at sales. The more you're getting from them, the more you're learning about what they're looking for, the easier it is for you to address those concerns. So they might be talking about issues they're having with the venue, issues they've had with a past planner they've hired. All these things are the things you want them to bring up and highlight so that you can jump into fix mode by giving them the perfect solution, which is you and your company. What you don't want to do is you don't want to make this all about you. You don't want to make this a conversation where you're just constantly talking about how amazing you are, how amazing your company is, why they should hire you without even thinking about what concerns they have. So here's the thing. When you're working with clients and you're actually trying to have a sales conversation, the most important thing is that you focus on them, their needs and their problems, and then show them why you're the best option to solve in this. What you don't want to do is focus on how amazing you are, how much you can do, all these things without understanding what their challenges are first. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So yes, I do want you to talk about how amazing you are, but I don't want that to be the lead-in. I want you to spin that into their concerns. So they might say, you know what? We hired a wedding planner before, but we could never get a hold of her. That's amazing. That's when you want to jump in and say, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. But here's the thing that I can do. I can promise you when you're working with us, one of the ways in which we work with our client is that you have not unlimited communication, but you always know how to get in contact with us. You have a planner assigned to your account that you can reach at any time, or if you can't reach them by phone outside of office hours, you can send them an email. Outside of the email, we also have a shared planning platform that you can use. You can always go in to access files that we're working on. You can address questions. You can add questions there. So the next morning when someone gets into the account, they can see them, right? You just need to let them know how you're able to fix this problem. And this is how you sell your amazingness, not just by saying you're amazing. Tip number 3 is to remember that your focus is on sales, not brand awareness. So one of the things that I find, and I've actually done this with some of my clients, right? I've asked them to pretend like I'm a client. What did this conversation look like? So sometimes they might have a conversation with a potential client and the person didn't hire them. And I'll sit them down and I'll try to go back through everything that was said, everything that was done. And one of the things that I've noticed sometimes is that I've had clients where they're focusing on brand awareness. And what I mean by that is they're focusing on their company, how amazing their company is, how organized it is, all of these things that to help to tell the customer more about their brand. That's great, but you're not in the business of brand awareness. You're in the business of sales. So you having a very streamlined process behind the scenes literally means nothing to this client if they haven't hired you yet, if they haven't started working with you yet. If their problem is finding a venue, right? You need to look into the sales part of it. So if you're into the sales part and not brand awareness, what something like that would look like, instead of focusing on your process and your logo and all the pretty colors and all the amazing things you're going to get, what you focus on is how you actually are able to help them, show them results you're able to get for someone else. Maybe they say, you know what, we booked a venue, we didn't read the contract, all these issues we're having. The venue coordinator said, oh, they'll be able to plan our wedding, but it turns out they don't actually do wedding planning. They're really a venue coordinator and it's not the same thing. Or maybe it's that, you know what, they didn't look at the room properly. And it turns out that when they went back, after they've signed the contract, after they put down the deposit, now everything is non-refundable. They've noticed that the room doesn't have certain things that it's supposed to. Maybe they just realized they're not allowed to do outside catering, but they do want to do outside catering because it's a cultural wedding and they want to have some cultural food in there. You know what I mean? Those are the things you can say, you know what? Here's how I can actually help you to address that. We work with clients that do this all the time. We understand. Sometimes when you're eager to book, you get ahead of yourself, right? You go ahead, you jump in, you might not read anything because that's okay. You don't have experience doing that, and that's okay. That's why you hire us. That's why we work with you. That's why we hold your hand through the process. And now that you've done that, that's fine. We're able to fix it. We're not going to be able to undo it, but here are some things that we've done with our past clients that can help to fix that and that we can do with you. We call the venue, we work with them to see if we can do X and Y and Z, and you lay it out for them. Now, don't give them everything so they can go do it on their own, but the point of that is that you want to be in sales mode by connecting their problem, your solution. You're not in brand awareness, or you're just talking about all the pretty things and processes. Pauses are not a bad thing. Yes. So tip number 4, a pause or hesitation in the conversation is not a bad thing. So one of the things that I've noticed sometimes is when my clients are, at least they were sitting across from a potential client, they're having a conversation. This is something I've had to train them over and over to do. If that potential client pauses or if they hesitate on something, this is not an opportunity for you to start negotiating on prices. No, it is not. A pause or a hesitation is okay. It is natural for conversations to have pauses. It is natural for your potential client to stop to think. It is natural for them to hesitate because here's why. They're learning a lot of things for the first time. It's new information. They're going to make a decision to hire you potentially. That's a big decision. They're going to make a decision for you to take over planning one of the biggest events in their life. That's a big decision. So pauses and hesitations are okay. Pauses and hesitations are allowed. Pauses and hesitations are not opportunities for you to negotiate your prices. Just remember that. I need you to remember this. So every time you hear a pause or hesitation, just sit quietly, let them pause, let them think about it, ask them if they have a question, probe if there's anything you can clarify, but do not, whatever you do, use this as an opportunity to start negotiating because you think you're about to lose a potential client, and lowering your prices is going to fix that, because I promise you it will not. Tip number 5 is that you need to be a problem solver. Did I say that correctly? You need to be a problem solver. What I mean by that is when you're having conversation, even if you're super prepared for this conversation, sometimes your client might ask you something that you don't know, right? Here's the thing though. When you're in the problem solving mode, it is okay to say, you know what? I don't know, but let me actually research that and get back to you because I think I can find the answer. Can I get back to you tomorrow or on Tuesday, or, give them a timeline, give them something specific. Here's what I like about this when I say problem solving mode. What I don't like is when people say, I don't know, and they stop right there. That is not a problem solver. A problem solver will always think about how they can actually find a solution. So I want you to be in problem solving mode. They have a question, you don't know the answer, that's fine. Say to them, you know what? I'm not quite sure about that, so let me confirm. Or I don't know, but let me check into that and let me get back to you by X date, or, 2 days, like whatever that is. That's the kind of mentality and mindset I need you to have in those consultations, because those are the kind of things that not only will the potential client find impressive that you didn't know something, but you still went and researched to get them some answers, but it also shows what it's going to be like when they're working with you. You're always on the ball. You're always ready to go. And even if you're not informed or know something, you're going to find out because you're the person. You're their problem solver. And that's where you want to be. Number 6 is that you should discuss pricing. Yeah. I know this is the big scary part where people are wondering, should I talk about pricing in my consultation? If I talk about pricing, would this person go away? Should I just wait until I send them a proposal and they can see the price? No, discuss pricing. It is important in this conversation for you to gauge where your clients are at. What are they looking to achieve and what's their budget? Or you know what? Actually, don't use the word budget. Say, what are you comfortable with financially? Like, what is that? What are you comfortable spending? What are you hoping to spend? What are you looking to spend? How far are you willing to go to achieve everything that you have on your Pinterest board, right? But you need to discuss pricing. Now, when I say discuss pricing, if you need to actually do specific calculation based on what their need, I don't want you to say, okay, well, it's going to cost you $5,000 when in reality, you don't know that, or there's no way for you to know that. Instead, what I want you to do is probe to see where they're at and discuss those pricing options, right? So go through it in terms of what are you able to spend? Where are you at? What are you looking for? And then talk about what things may cost, right? But I don't want you to give them flat out pricing, especially if you do not have that information. But bring it up. Because here's the thing for you. If you understand where they are, right, what's their financial comfort zone, and you haven't sent them a proposal yet, this is a perfect opportunity for you to think through what you might include or not include in that proposal based on what they've suggested or based on what their financial comfort zone is. Number 7 is that I want you to pay attention to body language and cues. Yeah, I know. It's a little bit of psychology there, but here's the thing. Have you ever actually had a conversation with someone where you're sitting down with them, you're talking to them, you're going over things, and they're just talking nonstop. They're just go, go, go. And you're given all the signals that maybe you want to jump in and ask a question, or maybe you want to jump in and share a story, or maybe you actually just want them to shut up and stop talking, but they're not paying attention to anything. They're not paying attention to your eye rolls. They're not paying attention to the fact that you're now bored and looking off to the side. They're not paying attention to the fact that you're yawning. They're not paying attention to any of your body language or cues. Here's the thing. Your client consultations are going to be the same because they're just conversations, right? So you need to do the same thing, especially if these are in person, even if they're not, but especially if they're in person, where you can gauge body language and cues way better, much better than if you're on Zoom or something. You want to pay attention to that. Pay attention to when you say something and it seems like they got excited. That's great. Use that to your advantage, right? Probe more into that. Say, oh, you said something about, oh, you could get this venue because one of your clients used this venue, and you show them a transformation photo and they're just so excited. Then you jump in and you say, okay, well, is this something that you'd be interested in? Or are you looking for a similar venue like that? Because we've worked there before and we know all the context there. We could get it booked very quickly, right? These are things you want to jump in on. Pay attention to the body language. Now, if you've noticed that their body language is changing, where you're saying stuff or they start to seem like bored or they're not paying attention, maybe you're talking too much, or maybe it's that they start to look uncomfortable. Maybe that's something that you said, right? Pay attention to that, because that can help you to have a better outcome. It's important in any everyday conversation, but most importantly, when you're looking to get someone to hire you, you need to be able to see what's working and what's not so that you can do more or less of that, because at the end of the day, we're just trying to get hired. Tip number 8, this is the last one, is always be closing. I have to remind my clients over and over again, yes, it's called a client consultation or whatever it is that you call it. However, at the end of the day, this is a sales meeting. This is a sales call, right? This is a sales conversation. So you should always be closing. So what do I mean by that? You should always be asking if they have additional questions. You should always be asking if there's anything you can send them. You should always be asking if there's anything you can clarify. You should always be asking if you can send them a proposal. You should always be asking what date you can expect to hear back from them. You should always be asking, will you be going forward with this, or is there anything that we can do or provide to make your decisions easier for you, right? You need to always be closing because you're trying to get booked. Now, I'm going to throw in a bonus tip before we wrap it up, and that is the follow-up. So yes, you've just had the most amazing client consultation. That's great. But one thing you have to remember is to follow up with your clients. Don't just let it lie there, especially if you actually want them to hire you. So maybe it's that you have to follow up with a proposal. Maybe you have to follow up to answer some questions. Maybe you've covered everything and there's no follow-up needed, and that's fine. Still follow up. What I want you to do instead is just send them an email just saying, thank you for meeting with me. It was an absolute pleasure. I'm glad we were able to discuss XYZ. Here are all the things that were looked at. Here are some links to some additional resources. If you have more questions, here's my number. right? But always do that follow up. I hope you're able to implement some of these tips into your upcoming client consultations, because I promise you, if you actually implement them, you'll see some conversions, right? Because some of these things are things that you might not even have thought of until I said them, because I know I'm like that. I might be talking to somebody and they're just like, well, did they say anything? Did they ask a question? I'm like, huh. Actually, I never thought of that, right? But those are the kind of reminders we need sometimes before we have these conversations. So look at your process, look at what you're asking. Let me know if these tips help you. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, of course, always, and the notification bell if you want to get more videos like this one week after week. Thanks so much for watching and have yourself a wonderful day.